All right. Um, we're going to talk about panchakoshas. You know, the description of what a human being is according to yoga. Five sheaths. You know, Annamaya kosha, which is body kosha, Pranamaya kosha, which is the energy kosha, and Manomaya kosha, which are senses, nervous system, brain, parasympathetic, sympathetic system, all of them together. Then Vijnanamaya kosha, which is actually thought and the ego and all the emotions, everything involved, intellect basically. And then Anandamaya kosha, which is the blissful layer. Okay, these are not separate, they're all together, but one is deeper than the other. Okay, so as you go deeper, the Anandamaya kosha is the deepest. And beyond that is the real you. That is the soul, that's the awareness, that's the consciousness and all. So all these layers are engulfing the soul. So as per the yoga, Vedanta, Indian scriptures, the aim of the human life is to realize that you are that innermost consciousness, awareness, or soul. Either, any way you can call it. Okay. So to realize that is the aim of the human birth. Okay. If you don't utilize human birth for this, then you go to take another life. It could be anything, from insect to the human. Again, you were, but you don't know what is the time period and all that. So, how is this relevant to us? Is first of all, if we don't know what's the aim of the human life and also who we really are, then we'll have a very confused, unhappy, suffering life. That is evident because people are fixated on their body. The body is going to get old, get disease, and all the suffering, right? And then if you think that I am only the mind, then you are fixed in your narrow thought and consequent suffering. But you are the happiness within. People forgot, so they are always looking for happiness outside. But if you know that you are the soul and you can decide that, then you can manage your mind and also body better. That is the main purpose why I thought I should discuss this so that people will understand. So let's take the outermost layer, which is the gross body. The body doesn't say, I am you, because body is gross and it is nourished by the food and the air and all the elements, right? So we take care of our body, but the body listens to the mind. So if you don't take care of the mind, then body also doesn't listen. Mostly it is the mind, right? And then if you don't have any control over the mind, it will drive you compulsively. That's the state of many people. So they start meditation, they start all things, but then next day they have so many impulses coming from within or from outside, and then they go from there. So let's take a body first, then how that is charged with all power, and then we will see the interior subtle layers of mind, intellect, and ego, and finally soul. So how do you take care of the body? Do you take care of the body because it is needed, or do you take care of the body in a systematic way so that the body will be healthy enough so that you can at least some time of the day, you can sit down and contemplate and then really realize who you are. That is the goal, right? So to keep the body healthy, you want to get away from the taste, which is again the internal layer, which is again desire, that is internal layer. So you want to eat to survive, you want to eat to sustain a healthy body. So now they are trying to go to molecular biology, identify what are the problems people are developing because of the lifestyles, and they want to change them with vaccines. This was the latest discussion yesterday I heard. So that's all good, but then if you understand how to protect your health from the beginning, then you don't want to go to that extreme. So taking care of the body is basically keeping it active and giving it enough relaxation and rest. That is at the body level. So eat well, sleep well, and then exercise well, and then relax well. These are the things for the body. Once you do that, but how do you go and charge it? That is where the next layer, pranamaya kosha, which is the air, which is the actually prana comes into it. It's not just the air. This is called kumbha nadi, through which you breathe, and once the kumbha nadi is taken away, you stop breathing and you die. So once you understand through the kumbha nadi, the outside prana, the energy is coming in through the air. Once the air comes in, the exchange of oxygen, carbon dioxide happens, and then we go into the metabolic states where oxygen is used and we produce the energy. But without that air coming in, it doesn't have. So body is given a good respiratory system, which we have a lot of knowledge, modern or ancient, and then keep it completely energized by doing pranayama. So main computer is body, and the electricity that is coming into it is the prana. Okay. Once you do that, you practice breath awareness, it affects the mind. It affects the movement of thought in the mind. So if you are agitated, you take deep breaths, then the thought goes down, right? But if you are really not paying attention to the breath, then you cannot do pranayama in the long run. So first you have to be awareness. That's the stage, pranayama stage 1. There are all the way up to 9 stages. But if you take it, just be aware of the breath, take deep breaths several times a day. That's good enough. But if you want to do more specific pranayamas, then you have to go to a yoga teacher and learn it properly and do it slowly, but in the long run. If you do it suddenly, you can hurt yourself. So that's why allow the body to breathe as it can and then improve on that. So we're done with the body, we're done with the energy sheath, right? Now we go into the nervous system. Modern science has the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system and also endocrines. They're ductless, right? So brain and spinal cord is the central nervous system. Sympathetic and parasympathetic is the autonomic nervous system. And so many endocrine glands, all the way from hypothalamus, pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, and thymus, and going to the pancreas, testosterone, ovary, all those things, right? Testis and ovary, okay? And then you have all these endocrine glands secreting hormones are influenced by your thought and your emotions. So you have to keep the nervous system balanced, stable, then you will be having a good chemistry inside. Okay, this is where a lot of meditation, lot of things come. Okay, so that is the structure of the nervous system, which acts as the manomaya kosha. And then that manomaya kosha is influenced by your intellect. That is the vijnanamaya kosha. This is where Modern societies have made a fundamental mistake of thinking intellect is everything. But intellect is only externally to the real you, which is the consciousness, which is the soul, which is the real you. Once you know that, then this mind can come under your control and you will be witnessing the mind instead of indulging in the mind, right? Then you go into the next layer, which is Anandamaya Kosha. This is a blissful layer which is inherent in us, which is present there. But if you don't have the mind clean, if you don't have the body clean, if you don't have the breathing properly, then you will have disease with that pain and suffering. Or if you have depression, anxiety, or if you have just a confused thought, or if you are unhappy for any small things. All that is what that comes into disturbing the blissful sheath, which is the Anandamaya Kosha. So if you look at body in the modern terms, like it's a body is different, mind is different, and my psychology is different, that's what we are doing. We treat the body, but they go and indulge the same thinking which caused them the problem, they will come back to that. Or if you have a psychological state that they cannot really resolve, they're depressed or sad or whatever, they don't understand and go over it, it will come back again. So this reductionist method where body and also again in the organs, liver specialist, heart specialist, all that, they don't properly coordinate, then you are getting partial treatment at best, or you can have the problem solved, but then that can come back again. So this division of body, mind, and psychology separate has not protected the health. By understanding these 5 layers, you can protect your health. How? First, realize that you are the consciousness. You are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are not your body. Then you can maintain the body in a healthy way, and then you can maintain your heart in a loving way, and you can maintain through that heart the mind in a joyful and peaceful way. Remember this. Then you will have a body that is healthy, you will have a heart that is loving, you will have a mind that has peace and joy in it. And joy is reflected, actually, it was there in you, that is reflected when you have all these things. Not when you are pursuing external things and then getting the fleeting happiness. Fleeting. That is means it doesn't stay for long. You have to go back for that again. But when you turn inward and realize who you are, then you are established in that, then you are already joyful and you are in touch with that joy. And that influences your mind and heart and body also. So the COVID skill that I was advocating to everybody is turn inward, find out who you are, find out the treasures within. So I have a formula, I put it for the easy comprehension of our people. 3 eyes. First eye is there are only inward riches. Outward riches can come and go, but inward riches, once discovered, they will not go anywhere unless you interfere with your own thought and emotions and all that. They are there. That is the first eye. Second eye is use inward awareness, intuition, rather than your intellect to reach that inner happiness, inner riches, right? That's the second eye, inner awareness, okay? So don't use the intellect, use the awareness. And the third one is intuitive way, intuition, not just the thought, intuition. So those 3 things, you have to remember. Inward riches, inward awareness, and inward intuition. People have lost this intuition because they are so much full of the intellect, outward going senses, outward going thought. You can use them, but you have to be a master of them. Now you can examine yourself. Am I in the control of my senses and my mind, my thought, my emotions, or I'm driven by every small thing that comes into my life? Okay, economic insecurity, emotional insecurity, or any other number of them. So all those things. So these three eyes based thing that they developed because they were keeping the body needs to the minimum. They were doing a very good healthy air at the time because the planet was not damaged, and they were doing the pranayama to keep the energy coming into the body. And then they kept the mind minimal or still so that it won't have so much energy consumed. Right now, modern man consumes so much energy by persistent, non-focused, or anxiety-driven or depression-driven thought. So you have to understand the significance of the energy waste because of this unnecessary thought. Then the mind also goes out of it after a while. Okay, that's why you have to control your thought and everything to consume energy also. How do you control the thought? By just realizing that I am not this thought that is going on, I am behind it. So if you're seated in that real you, then the thoughts will come and go. You won't catch them and you won't pursue them. You will pursue them when it is really needed, but you won't be dictated by that flow. That's a major skill that people have to learn. Okay. Now, once you realized, once you have these three eyes going on in your system, then you will realize yourself how invigorating, how joyful, how fulfilling it is. This is another thing too. Achyadika dukkha nivritti. That means extreme prevention of suffering, extreme suffering prevention. The suffering is extreme and it will be prevented by these practices of going in. And the second thing is Paramananda Prapti. Extreme bliss is possible for you. So that is the idea of why they have invented all this process, all this consciousness insights. Everything is they were using intuition as a tool and discovered them. And once they discovered, they allowed the other people to learn them. And once they learned, these people lived a healthy, peaceful, loving, and joyful lives. They are not going after so many unnecessary, trivial things, because they have realized they are all come to go. Youth comes and go, wealth comes and go, and positions come and go. So they were let them go because they knew this bliss inside. Once they touch it, then there is no boredom, no saying I have to achieve anything else. That's why they said praptasya prapti. What is the most you want to achieve in life, you have already achieved once you do that. And then gnanastha grafti, that means you have gained the knowledge that is the highest which you can gain. And whatever you wanted to gain materially also will be gained because you are so stable person. And you can use your brain, use your mind, use your emotions in a much more positive way. You will be emotionally intelligent, you will be thoughtful, you will be lovingly, affectionately nurturing people, and then your life will be improved that way. So whatever reaction you have, other people will be like that, not this transactory, monetary based, consumer based atmosphere. Okay, once you are in that atmosphere, you are going to pay for it. If you think your body, your mind, then you're going to pay for it with the suffering. So nobody is to blame except yourself because you didn't understand. That is why I say avidya kama karma. According to your ignorance, you do actions, and because of the actions, you develop your karma. And that karma has to be resolved in this life or next life. So that is the main thing. Realize who you are and stay in that, and then control the mind and body with the practices that they have. But the first thing is realize where we are. Are we at the body level? Are we at the mind level? Are we at the soul level? Once you establish yourself, then suppose you are in the body level, you are just going for the taste, you are going just for the pleasures, you are just going for the superficial things that do not stay with you forever. Suppose I have a car, I'm going to, that's taken away from me. If I have attachment with that, then I will suffer, right? Like that, body is also can have problems. I can have stroke or I can have problems with the accident, whatever. Then if you lose a limb, then you suffer from that too. But then look at Stephen Hawkins. He was completely paralyzed. He could not move anything except move the uh, with the eyes. He was moving the needle and then he was conversing. But he had invented major physics findings in the world into the into the black holes and all that. Okay, so he was not operational in any way except by his consciousness. That's all he had. Okay, so the person who is attached to the body would not be able to do that because he is attached to the body and he is so depressed because the physical condition has deteriorated. That's the problem with the body. Mind is also just a bunch of thoughts. So this reactive mind, this suffering mind will not be there. On the other hand, medha, they call medha means highest intellectual capacity, not just intellect, intellectual capacity. That's why they Vivekananda, Shankaracharya, Chanakya, they had an excellent intellect because of the intellect itself is not bad. But if you think you are the intellect, that's the problem. Okay? This way, intellect is also not working well because you are swayed by your conditioning, by your culture, by your language, whatever it is. So those are our limiting factors. So body and mind are limiting factors, but if you want to associate yourself with a limiting factor, then you pay for it. But on the other hand, if you seat yourself in the soul, then maintain body, maintain mind, then you will be able to have a healthy, peaceful, joyful, loving life. Okay, that's about, in brief, what are these five sheaths, how they are formed, and what is behind all these sheaths, and then how to really realize that and maintain all these sheaths very well. Okay, I think that's about it. I don't want to go too deep into that, but each one we can take and talk about it later as a series. Okay, then people will be able to understand better. Okay, so you can unmute and ask me questions if you have any. Okay.
No, I don't have any question.
Did you understand what I was talking about?
To a certain extent, yes.
Hmm.
It's
What
about
did you not
basically
understand?
the gist is about getting control over your mind and not getting affected by everything and anything, keeping yourself separate from a line on the chudu where you said your actions are not you.
Hmm.
That that is a little difficult to understand.
Not the actual. What did I say? Who is the real you?
Huh.
If you don't understand and stay in there, then you are driven
You're
by everything.
Hmm. I understood this, but the practice of it is a little difficult. That is what I'm trying to say.
He's
If
saying that
you
is difficult.
like this, I should be beyond this. I should, any constant, you have to keep talking to yourself and then doing that. So that is
Not talk
something
to
we have to
yourself. Be
really
aware.
be working on.
Not talking to
Be
yourself.
aware
Be
is
aware.
basically that.
The instrument is different there.
By
You have to
being aware, that's what
intuitive
I meant.
intuition. You feel your awareness. You don't feel the
Hmm.
thoughts. Once the awareness is there, that the thoughts will come and go like a cloud in the sky. The sky is your consciousness. You are in there, and then all the clouds come and go. You just watch them. But if you are in the cloud, then you think you are that, and then you travel with the cloud with the thought. So
Okay.
so that's what it is. Okay.